Hey, don't you owe me some money? I do owe you $1,000.
Joel Embiid has been bothered by a bad back. Didn't know if he's going to play or not, but it looks like he will play tonight for the Sixers as they take on Victor Oladipo and the Indiana Pacers, who are number 3 in the East. 2 of the top 4 teams in the East squaring off here on TNT. We're going to the Fieldhouse next. Well, here we go. Studio J in Atlanta. Got a pretty good doubleheader here.
I'm looking forward to both games tonight.
Sixers and the Pacers with Kevin Harlan. Reggie Miller going back to Indiana to call that game tonight with RGO, Rosgold and Woody. And then we got the Lakers and the Thunder. And here inside Studio J, Ernie Johnson.
Well, that's not a good one.
Shaquille O'Neal.
That's a beatdown.
Kenny Smith.
I miss you, Charles. Just a beatdown.
Charles.
I haven't laughed since last. Hey, let's enjoy this first game. That second game is going to be a ass-kicking.
You never know.
You do know.
No,
Have you seen the Lakers play?
You never.
They lost to the Cavaliers the other night.
Yeah, you never.
And I must have been really bored to watch that game.
We
were texting each other. We were texting each other during the game.
Are you watching this?
Are you watching the Lakers against the Cavaliers? I mean, that's how bad our lives are right now.
That is a sad commentary on your life.
It was.
I thought you're better than
I
that.
texted him. I was like, "Are you watching this game?" He's
was texting each
he's
other?
like,
Yeah, we were. Because
I flew back with you. We had a different.
Oh, must be nice to have a private jet.
Yeah, you know.
Hey, that wasn't me. I'm on Delta, baby. Hey, must be nice to have a big old private jet.
Yeah, it was nice.
So anyway, Philadelphia, Indiana. They've played twice already this year. Home team has not won a game yet, and Philadelphia embarking on a real interesting chunk of schedule right now. Next 12 games, all against teams with winning records. So here's what Philadelphia's got.
Yeah, that's
They got at Indiana tonight, then home with OKC, home with the Rockets, home with the Spurs, and then on the road to Denver, the Lakers, Golden State, Sacramento, and then back home for Toronto, Denver, the Lakers, and Boston.
Well, let me say this about the Sixers. They're not embarking on a trip. They're embarking on their season. Ernie, Kenny talks about it all the time. At some point, you have to figure out what you are. The Sixers are still fumbling around. Same thing with the Celtics. At some point during the season, we're coming up on the All-Star break. The Sixers got to figure out a pecking order. And this is going to be a make-or-break trip for them because when they come back,
a stretch of games, a stretch of 12 games.
But when you play against the elite teams, you can't be going into February and March trying to say, well, whose team is it? What type? Are we a defensive team? We're an offensive team?
Whose team is it, Kenny?
Well, this is what Shaq and I were just talking about.
Whose team is it?
We hate that phrase, whose team is it? You know, it's because if I average 18 rebounds, is it my team? If I average 12 assists, is it my team? If I average 30 points, is my team? Everyone has a job to do that they are really good at. This is what should happen. Ben Simmons creates the pace every time.
Yep.
He's the guy who's going to get the ball to create the pace of what it is. Offensively, we're going through Joel Embiid.
Yep.
And defensively, Jimmy Butler will secure and anchor everything out front. That's how we play.
Yeah, but
the problem. That's how we play.
Go ahead, Shaq.
The problem with these teams, and I actually had this problem. Sometimes we worry about nonsense rather than having communications. Once Phil sat me and Kobe down and said, okay, Shaq, we're coming to you early, and if you're not hitting the free throws, Kobe's going to take over the game. Once I accepted that, see, we're not worried about the pecking order. Kobe's the man, I'm the man, we did it together. And like I was telling Kenny next door, forget the pecking order. The others also have to play well, but the guys have to keep the others involved. So I think the guys are worried about whose team is it and do this, that. Kenny, you make a great point. Ben, run. Get it to Embiid. Jimmy Butler, you take the last shot, and others, y'all got to step up.
And I always, as an other,
it's a simple game. That's how you win a simple game.
I only respected the guy when he didn't say he was the guy.
Exactly.
When he told me he was the guy, I'm like, you ain't the guy.
Yeah.
You ain't the guy. If you got to tell me you the guy, you ain't the guy.
See, and
I would never relinquish my responsibility to him then. But if you show me through your work ethic and do what you do on the court, we can talk about that.
First of all, it's a great point. Both of y'all got great points. But two things. Number one, I ain't never going to call you
the guy.
And no, because you don't have to tell me. And I don't have to call you and say, hey, Charles, you're doing your job.
Right.
No, that's your damn job to be the leader. You don't have to tell me you're the leader. I don't have to call no other player and says, hey, I really appreciate what you taught me when I played with you. No,
talking
I
about
followed
Kyrie.
you. But to get back to the original point, if Joel Embiid is still talking about shots, if Jimmy Butler is talking to the coach about, well, I'm not happy with my role, that's the problem with the Sixers. Brett Brown's got to sit them down and says, yo, Ben, I agree with Kenneth. When we going fast, you're the guy. You get everybody involved. Joel Embiid, we're in the half court. We're going to go through you. Jimmy, you're a really good player, but we brought you here to help us win, not complain about how many touches you get and things like that.
Well, we got time. Let's check out Indiana, because this is a team that's been flying underneath that radar that's always talking about Toronto and Milwaukee and Boston and Philly, and they got the third best record in the Eastern Conference at 29-14. And Victor Oladipo's numbers are not as good as they were, but they're good enough. Miles Turner has seemed to improve. Domantas Sabonis might be the sixth man of the year.
They're really good, Ernie, to collectively.
Yeah.
And the issue is, at one point, if you watch a game, as great as Victor Oladipo is, and he's a heck of a talent, but when he plays against the elite team, they don't have the best player on the floor. That's what scares everyone else to say, well, we're going with Indiana. Because when you play against Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis is the best player on the floor. When you play against Toronto Raptors, Kawhi is the best. When you play in the Western Conference, we can go down the line as well. So all of a sudden, your best player sometimes isn't the best player on the court. So collectively, they do it. And can you believe in a collection? Well, and that's when it comes down to a play or two in a game.
Other than the coach in Brooklyn, Nate McMillan has done a fantastic job. And
Kenny Atkinson.
Kenny Atkinson, he's done because the Nets they've been fantastic all year. Sean Marks. Oh, no, I'm talking about in the East.
Oh, in the East, okay.
Mike Malone. First of all, I got to call out my Denver Nuggets too tonight.
Okay.
But Mike Malone has done a fantastic
Tired of talking about your Nuggets every week.
Ernie, I was so pissed the other night at the Nuggets.
But they're 7 out of the last 10 games.
No. When a guy, Kenny, you know, Shaq, you know this. There's
Are
big
the Nuggets playing tonight?
No, but they got big games. There's big games. Am I right?
Right.
Oh, they got smacked.
And the Warriors came to their house, slapped them, beat their kids up, took their lunch money, and left. You cannot do that.
Oh, yeah, I see how it man up. Okay.
That's my man Serge. He's the Sixers masseuse.
Anytime he's eating grapes and getting a massage on a court,
I would hope
he's
is.
playing. You know he's playing.
Auto Trader All-Star Drive.
I'm in second place now.
Yes, you are. And we've got tonight and we've got next Thursday night.
Oh, Chico.
That's it. And this was huge over the weekend.
Eric
Bennett.
Done.
Eric and Quinn with their first baby
Wait, did
girl.
you name the kid Bennett?
Yes. That's Quinn and Eric named their little girl Bennett Quinn Johnson.
Okay, Bennett Johnson.
I thought it was going to be.
I guess
They said they were going to name it after us.
I was like, what happened to like Charles Kenny Barkley?
Yeah. What happened to that? They promised us that.
They are wise.
Congratulations, Ernie.
Thank you.
Well, last night, the Celtics snapped a 3-game losing streak, and Kyrie Irving was masterful. 27 points, career high, 18 points. He walked the walk after doing a whole lot of talking, and then after the game, he did some more talking about a particular phone call he had with his former teammate.
I had to call Bron, and tell him, I apologize for being that young player that wanted to everything at his fingertips, and I wanted everything to be at, my threshold. I wanted to be the guy that led us to championship. I wanted to be the leader. I wanted to be all that, and the responsibility of being the best player in the world and leading a team is something that's not meant for many people. And Bron was one of those guys that came to Cleveland and tried to really show us what it's like to win a championship, and it was hard for him.
Darn, Kenny, it's our weekly visit with Shaquille O'Neal, who knows something about teammates breaking up very famously. What do you take of Kyrie talking about and telling the world about the conversation he had with LeBron?
I mean, I think it was big of him to let the world know he was thinking, but a lot of times stuff like that you should keep to yourself. I think the problem with most of us, especially when we're in our prime, we don't have enough time because of our egos to just sit down and have a conversation. Especially when you got all the other outside factors. Like, I hate hearing whose team is it. Is it Keem's team? Is it Kenny's team? Like, that right there will break. Rather than, having a conversation. Once me and him had that conversation, come to me at the beginning of the game. I'm probably not going to be hitting free throws in the fourth quarter. You do what you do in the fourth quarter. I rebound, I set picks and get you up. So once you have that conversation and stop worrying about whose team is it or who does this and who does that, because believe it or not, and Kenny knows this, you're not going to win the championship without the others. So, like, you can average 20, 30, but if you don't have the others hitting 9 threes and hitting the clutch three when Penny Hardaway jumps at the pump fake, you're not going to win the championship anyway. So everybody just has to play their role. Who cares who's getting the most credit? Like, when I first came in, I wanted to be the man, but guess what? Mike, Barkley, Malone, David Robinson, sometimes you just got to, wait your turn. But be careful what you ask for, because when you want to be the man, you better be able to control it and, be able to handle it. But again, it was, commendable of for him to say, I apologize and all that, but some of that stuff you just, have to keep to yourself.
Yeah, I agree with keeping it to yourself. I mean, it doesn't benefit. I'm not sure who it benefits by being exposed now. I'm not sure. But being an other, so to speak, you respect the guy when he's not trying to be the guy.
Right.
Because you have more of the offensive load doesn't really make you the guy either. Because you get 30 doesn't really make you the guy. It just what you do around it, how you lead, how your work ethic, what you don't say, that makes you the guy. So because if a guy had averaged 20 rebounds a game, does that make him the guy?
Right. Every situation is different, right?
It does, right. So what it is your respect comes from your work ethic and what you, most of the time, what you don't say. And then everyone starts to say, he's the guy. You don't have to say it.
Funny you mentioned respect.
And the problem with Boston is a very simple fix. Very simple fix. Kyrie, as a leader, should come in and say, I realize I saw what you did last year, and I want you to do that. Don't hold back from me. I want you to do that. When I get you the ball, do what you did last year. I'm going to do what I do. Now you got 2 powerhouses playing. See, the problem is these guys, they're like, hey, we can play. Now that Kyrie and, the other guys back, you want us to go back, and they don't want to go back, and they shouldn't go back. But Kyrie, as the leader, he should make it easy for himself. It was easy for me, rather than try to shoot through the double, kick it to Horace. Horace Grant going to hit that wide open 15-footer 7 out of 10 times. It makes it easier for Kyrie, so he don't have to dribble and, try to get 27 every night. If you got young guys that want to roll, get it to them.
How do you Shaquille broke it down before we go into Diesel dunks so simply. He broke it down one night. He's like, well, how do you get 30 points? You get 6 points a quarter. You get 6 points a quarter. That's 24, and you get to the free throw line. That's it. You got to make 3 baskets in a quarter. That's it. If you're a great player, you should be able to get 3 baskets every quarter, and then get to the free throw line and
in
get
a quarter. You don't need to get 30 in a quarter.
That's it.
All right, well, it's your time to shine.
Let's do it.
Let's break out the sheet. Let's go.
All right, Kenny, I apologize.
Diesel dunks.
I apologize.
Jared, I apologize to you for beating you up a couple weeks ago. I'm sorry.
The therapy sessions, you'll have to pay for those, too.
I should have realized that
He's the man. That's what makes him the man.
Number 10, DeAndre Brimbrae rocks the cradle and throws down the nasty reverse dunk on the break.
I used to do that on a regular. We need to see. No, that was a Kenny Smith dunk. No, that was my dunk back in the day. I'm telling you, Shaq.
Oh, brother.
I made that dunk famous.
I know, I saw you.
Thank you.
Number 9, Kyle Kuzma drives through the lane and throws down the tomahawk on the Bulls.
I love when guys go by the rim. Watch it goes by it. It keeps going.
Oh, don't look at the rim.
Yes, go by it. Make sure it didn't pop out.
I see. Okay. Number 8, Ben Simmons powers past Taj Gibson and finishes strong at the rim with the one-handed jam.
I think the push-out was,
that wasn't no push. Stop. That's LSU. We don't need the push.
How do you like the headband?
Love, strength, university.
Yeah, I do
like the way.
I do like the headband, Ben.
Number 7, Anthony Davis cuts back door and throws it down over Kevin Durant.
Oh.
Don't you jump.
That was one of the best games.
Don't you jump.
That was a great game. They can look like the
Number 6, Luka Doncic dribbles past DeMar DeRozan for the 2-hand flush in traffic.
Yeah, he's kind of weak.
Where's he from, Doncic?
Luka?
From Europe.
From what part of Europe?
Slovenia. Number 5, Giannis Euro sets past Mike Conley and stuffs on the whole damn team.
Oh, man.
Man, that's my MVP right there, Kenny.
He finishes in the lane like close to you. Once
Boy.
it's there, it's done.
That's why he's a new Superman. I gave it to
Superman!
him. Number 4, Al Horford fills the lane and posterizes Serge Ibaka.
Then he looked at him. Then he looked at him.
Oh, don't look at him.
Then he looked at him.
Don't look at him.
Then he looked at him.
Ooh.
Then he looked at him.
Ooh, what you doing? What are you doing? In defense.
Indeed.
Number 3, James Johnson drives the lane and throws down the And number 1, Jermichael Green pump fakes, drives, and baptizes Ersan Ilyasova,
Oh.
then stares at the body.
Okay.
Ilyasova.
Close.
Baptism.
Ilyasova.
Oh.
Savo. Ilyasova.
Oh, my God.
Disrespectful to the
That wasn't.
Ilyasova.
He woke up
Jared,
wet.
I
He got up
4
wet.
degrees. I can read.
He got up wet. That wasn't
You
baptism.
maybe could read, but
Listen, and
Speaking
but
different
listen, my homeboy Justin put it ebonically too.
Yes, sir.
Ilyasova.
Yes, sir. Ilya Savo.
Thanks, Justin.
some read an A as an O. I guess that's what Jack does. That is
Boston, y'all get right, man, and go have a meeting, man. That's all it takes. Just one team dinner, everybody say
Yeah.
what's on their mind, and then just get it cracking.
Get it cracking.
That's
They had a team meeting
No.
after the Milwaukee loss in December, and they said everything was fixed.
not that type of team meeting. A team meeting with us and the fellas. We at the crib. We watching Netflix. We
Netflix and chill
We
with the
drinking
team?
that drink. We just chilling. We talking smack. We get into some arguments.
No
and
doubt.
somebody get them and say, nah, cut that out. Boo, 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 boo. That's all. It's simple.
Jack?
Let your ego go.
Kenny?
Yes.
You guys got to go.
Okay. Let your ego go.
Okay.
Sorry, brother.
Kenny, thank you very
Thank you,
much.
brother.
Appreciate it. I
Thanks for having
apologize,
me.
sir. I apologize.
I'm the man, Jerry. I'm the man.
Oh, irony. It's so fun. We'll
they
come
went
back
to
with
London?
highlights from London. Dramatic win by the Wizards.
People flying to London in the middle of